Childhood obesity is child abuse, and I'm going to tell you why. It's said that the average person adds on an extra 5 pounds per year, usually for the duration of their life, unless that person combats that trend with good diet, good exercise. Again, that's 5 pounds a year. In 5 years, that's an extra 25 pounds. Think about that. 10 years, that's an extra 50 pounds. So it's easy to see how the vast majority of people in this world are either overweight or obese, particularly in the Western world. What you need to know about fat cells is once fat cells have been created, they cannot be eliminated. They can only be shrunken. So let's say you put on a 50-pound beer belly. Well, those fat cells are there. You have created those fat cells. You can't get rid of them. You can shrink them, and that's where you get what we call the sloppy yogurt fat effect. And basically that's where you got lots of loose skin. You can shrink the large fat underneath, but the loose skin and everything is just there. Now there's some modern procedures, things like liposuction and other cosmetic procedures that cost many thousands of dollars that can combat that, but most people are not going to have the disposable income for those types of cosmetic procedures. Even if they have that money, they're probably going to spend it elsewhere, because most people are just living life either overweight or obese without a care in the world. It's just a whole movement in regards to that. But I mean, we can deny the reality of being overweight or obese, but unfortunately, none of us can deny the consequences of denying that reality and the consequences, the bad health consequences that come along with living the overweight or obese lifestyle. So going back to the topic of child obesity is child abuse, as a parent, you have complete control over the diet of your child. Of course, the younger they are, the more control that you have. And at the bare minimum, you need to be providing the utmost example yourself of what you're consuming, because what you're consuming is what your child is going to see you consuming, and that's what they're going to consume. And that's especially important as they get older and they spend more time away from you. And we all love our children. We want to spoil them as much as we can, bring them happiness and joy. But unfortunately, we need to find other delivery systems of bringing them happiness and joy, not just giving them a candy bar or a cookie or a brownie. I'm not saying deny these things completely, but they need to be rationed on a grand level. You need to monitor your children's health measurements just like you monitor your own as an adult. A lot of people put off their health until they're 30, 40, 50, or even older, when we need to give health the utmost priority as early as possible. I myself ate like garbage on up through high school. I got away with it then, but if I knew what I knew now about diet, I can assure you I would have started as early as possible. I don't blame my parents or grandparents about that. Unfortunately, they just were not educated as we were educated. We have the benefits of mass information today that we're able to utilize. They didn't have that, so there's absolutely no excuses now. So no matter where you have to cut funds, put the absolute priority on your children's diet and their exercise regimen, because that's more important than the clothes they wear or the trips you take them on. I have a number of friends that are personal trainers. They train multiple of multimillionaires. Many of these individuals have put their wallets and their careers and their incomes above their health. And they find themselves at 30, 40, 50, or even older, and their health has absolutely been in the back seat, and it's now becoming their own personal pandemic. And there's not a single one of those individuals that would not give it all up or turn back time to put their health as a priority. Particularly internationally, millionaires and billionaires, they put the emphasis on their health outside of the Western world. It is the utmost of importance. And there's nothing more valuable without your health. That is where true wealth comes from. You start with that, and anything else is an added bonus. So when it comes to your children, control absolutely what they intake. It's extremely important. For example, I have a friend of mine who has a couple of daughters, and he had one scenario. I'll give you an example. He was allowing his daughter to have a piece of toast with a breakfast meal. She's a younger child, and she was kicking and screaming for some time that she wanted 2 pieces of toast, and he was only allowing her 1 piece of toast. And she was continuing to act out in regards to the fact that she was only getting 1 instead of 2 pieces of toast. Well, he had to just take that 1 piece of toast that he was going to give to her and throw it out the window. So now she has no pieces of toast. And of course, that caused what we call a hissy fit. But unfortunately, sometimes you gotta be tough. You gotta be the mean person to do in the long term what is the best thing. So you have to be the bad guy sometimes to make a difference. And it's just how it is. If you watch advertisements today, most of what you see are food commercials out there. And I personally think food advertisements need to be illegal, because I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, you can be in the gym and they're just playing fast food commercial after fast food commercial, delivery pizza commercials. And we must remember that food is just a fuel for our mind and our bodies. It's to get us to a certain place, a certain level. It's simply an energy source. I mean, do you see advertisements on TV for fuel stations? I mean, do people just go and hang out at fuel stations, around fuel pumps? No, they don't. They go, they fill their vehicles up, they continue on about their day. We're not having mass dialogues about food. You just don't see deep advertisements about gasoline or diesel or propane or kerosene. They're a means to the end, and that's what food is. And however, we've put this huge emphasis on food and how amazing it is, and it's absolutely important, and we want the highest quality that we possibly can afford. However, we treat it like it's a holy situation, like it's a meaning or reason for getting together, when you should get together for the means of getting together, not just to be consuming something. And so it's a whole mindset about food that we must change to combat this overweight and obesity situation that we've got going on. And fortunately, as parents, we can make a difference, starting a human out young versus when it's too late. So something to think about. What are your thoughts on this topic, childhood obesity? What are your solutions to this? I'd love to hear about it. Let's start a narrative on it. And share this video, tap the thumbs up icon and the subscribe button. That'll help push this video out so it gets seen. I think it definitely needs to be discussed. And we've sometimes got to be the tough person to make a difference.